so much for the interview.
It's a pleasure.
And it's great to have the first summit here in Mexico. I think we really need it. So please tell me for you, how's for you to bring this thing to Mexico?
Well, first, it's very important. Look at how the world geopolitical landscape is changing quite quickly. I think we have all our part to play in that change, and we bring a positive one. So we're about building bridges all around the world, and Mexico City is one of those points that we want to build bridges in. We started in Montreal 7 years ago. It was to make Montreal shine. And now, from that small step in Montreal 7 years ago, we are going to be in Paris, Dubai, Melbourne, Shanghai, and now Mexico City. So we hope to be able to bring this event right here in Mexico City as early as late 2018.
Wow, I am so thrilled about this. And because in Mexico, we believe when a kid tells to her mother, I want to be an artist, or I want to make something related to arts, it's like, oh, you're gonna be poor, you don't have any future, and that's probably part of the old culture of Mexicans. Mm-hmm. So what you're doing is, of course, with technology, with a lot of part of this fourth revolution, industrial revolution, that you're changing the way arts and as business, as technology is changing. How would you say to the new generations that wants to be part of this artist, but not actually like just painting? It's like this is bigger. You can do a lot of things right now when you talk about any creative or artistic.
Yes.
Activity.
I think, personally, I think that to solve the world problem, we'll have to be very creative. That goes from artistic paintings to solving the environmental crisis we're in, right? Let's face it, if we don't do anything, we're going to be back at the age of dinosaurs. And that is true for the environment as well as our economy. So we all have to come together in a new way, in a very 21st century way. And that's the basis of C2. C2 is commerce and creativity. And we think that by joining those two, the business side and the creative side, something new will emerge. And new is what we need right now. Old school, we've proven, doesn't work. So that was 20th century. What is 21st century is the combination of this creativity and commerce together. That doesn't work as opposite. Look, a few decades ago, arts and businesses, they did not go along, right? It was something that was completely disconnected. Today, we hold a business conference in Montreal. We had everywhere, I mean literally everywhere, artistic pieces, contemporary art, but also food and music. So that's also part of what it is. And all these things combine to create a new landscape. And now the business people who can take big checks and big contracts and influence the economy, they say, my role in society is way more than just building stuff. I need to have a positive impact on society itself. And that's when you include art, food, wine, and personal relationships. So creativity, as you can see in the 21st century, takes a much larger role than it has been in any place in the past human history, really.
And as this revolution is going on, everyone's afraid of losing their jobs, and creativity is one of the human most important things to not be replaced by robots. So have you ever talked about this in the C2 summits?
Of course. The thing is that tomorrow you won't have a job. You're going to be entrepreneurs, right? Why are the startups, the new things, the small incubators growing everywhere in the world? Is because we don't define our future with how many jobs we have. We define our future on what we create. So that means the society itself, including Mexico City, is becoming a society of entrepreneurs. So it's not a question of seeking a job, it's about creating jobs. So if I'm out of school, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to put my resume together and find who wants to hire me, how about that same person outputs his resume and says, I'm hiring 10 people. Here's my idea. Here's how we're going to benefit Mexico City and ourselves at the same time. So it's completely shifting how we view the world and our role in it.
And the way of scaling that idea in terms of business has changed in the past years. I mean, in terms of everyone's talking about scalability in the business and as service ladies, now it's a franchise and every idea can fit in every local culture. So how is now the role model of art, or what's the meaning?
I think when you say role model of art and role model in business, in my mind is the same. To be right with the 21st century is not what you're doing, but the purpose of why you're doing it. So if you go back to C2, you can say it's a conference, it's a summit, it's a business meeting, etc. Yes, it's true, but there's already hundreds of those. Like there's already hundreds of painters and hundreds of poets and novelists and so on. But if you say C2 is not an event, it's an excuse of putting people together, right, to influence and propel the economy and society forward. So the event itself, we don't do it for the event. We do it to change the economy and society. We just use the event as our tool to do so, as a painter uses his paintbrush to paint a painting, right? So what we are doing, the purpose of C2, of bringing commerce and creativity together, is to propel the economy and society forward. And that is the message that society itself, the Mexican people, the people in Dubai, the people in Paris, they want to hear. Because it's not about doing something, it's why you're doing it for. And if you say what I'm doing by becoming part of C2, by collaborating with C2, whether I'm an elected official or a private company or simply a citizen, then you will change for the better Mexico City. And that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Is it difficult to be like this ambassador of arts in emerging economies? It comes like Brazil, Mexico, I don't know, probably in Great Britain, where art is absolutely part of the culture and a lot of people has a job there. Is it different here?
Creating something is the most difficult thing any human being can do. Let's look at a couple. Getting together as a couple and creating a family is very difficult. It requires a lot of commitment. Well, business, art, and society and culture is the same. When you're trying to change status quo and creating a new path, you're going to have people that embrace it, and you're going to have people that oppose it. And now you have to feel true to your purpose in order to overcome all those barriers that come. So I would not say that Mexico City is harder than any place else in the world. There's challenges in creating a new path for the future. And C2, I can name multiple barriers we've had in our own city in Montreal, multiple barriers we're having in Dubai, in Paris, in Melbourne. But the team that is around, the stakeholders that we're talking to, the partners that we have, we all understand that the purpose is we need to make it work. So when we have barriers, let's work together at figuring out how we overcome them.
And is it difficult to amaze people in the 21st century? Do you need more like production or technology? Is it different?
I think we mix coolness and lasers with purpose, right? So yes, you can amaze people by saying, oh wow, this show was great and there's colors and lasers and so on, but why were there colors? So unless you can explain why you're doing it, well, this becomes simply a fashion statement. Let me be clear. When you at C2, for example, we have labs. So the labs are not normal, typical brainstorming session where everybody gets around a table and we do post-its. We do have post-its. But how about doing a lab 50 feet up in the air where you're scared for your life, right? You're in a chair, there's nothing around you, and not only that, there's screens all around you that projects clouds and stars and the moon and all those things. So you're scared and you're seeing all those nice things, right? That's where we have the brainstorming happen with a moderator and so on. Why? Because when you're scared for your life, you're going to have your friend Olivier or the lady beside you. You don't care the title. Does he wear a tie? Does he have tattoos? Is it old or young? All those barriers go down. The purpose will be the conversation we're having. So the outcome, what is created, will be completely different. So as you can see, this was very cool. It's very sexy as how it's done. But the purpose was to break down barriers, not the coolness factor. It just happens to be cool at the same time.
I thought it was a myth because I've heard that most of the Simpsons writers someday were arriving to the office like dressed as a women or something like that. You know,
we actually do it.
Actually true.
No, but it's the same thing. For example, we have brainstorms on boats. Okay. Why boats? Well, because there's water. We're all humans, right? We have to be connected with the elements. So if you have a brainstorming session in a gray hotel room and you're having the same topic with the same people on a boat and floating and having a nice environment, it's going to change completely the dynamic of that group. And of course, because we're environmentally conscious, that boat is electric. So it costs more for us to have a boat that is electric power, but we think it's worthwhile to bring people in that environment in order to reach our goal. And it actually works.
I want to be And just to finish, is it difficult to, as you just mentioned, technology is not like the final goal, it's just a way to get to some idea, but do you think that most of some shows think that you really need a lot of money in order to buy lasers and to buy something so it looks bigger, because as production we know that you can make a lot of lights and it looks professional, but in the end it has nothing behind. So do you think people has this idea of art and technology instead of building ideas?
I think, to be quite honest, I think most events approach it the wrong way. Because they say, my event is boring, I'm going to put more lights, and people will come. Guess what? They don't come, right? It works year one, and year two, it's as empty as it was before. So that's why just putting lights and putting more music or more celebration is not the way to go. You have to create a purpose around it, but also you have to show impact. That is, what is the impact of art? Very difficult to measure. But if you say, by building this environment, you have more business deal happen. It might not be the best metric, but suppose I tell you in Montreal, this year we have close to $200 million worth of contracts that were signed because those two people or a few people got together and created something new that did not exist before. What if I tell you that out of the 12 companies from Mexico City that came from Montreal to Montreal, 4 of them right now have deals that will impact Mexico City on the transport landscape, on the communication landscape. There are deals that are happening right now because those people came to C2. So these are how we have to measure our success. Right? And it's not just how many people came. There's 6,000 people came to C2, 61 countries. That's great. But what was the outcome? Well, they know our city better. They have contracts. We've hired people because they came, and we've influenced the Mexican economy. Imagine if what we did in Montreal, we do in Mexico City as well for the entire Latin America market. And you, right here, C2 Mexico City becomes the voice of Latin America for around the world. So that means not only the Montrealers and the people from Vancouver will come, but also people from Asia, people from Europe will also come to Mexico City to discover what is here. And it's going to be art, it's going to be restaurants, it's going to be the drinks that you have, and it's going to be much more than just the nice beaches you're renowned for. They're going to discover what Mexicans are great to, and that's what we're going to do.
So this is all about to build an environment instead of just of an idea, just like scale it to a whole experience. As Civil
Yep.
Play, for example, I think is the most creative.
You are right. And I'm new at C2, but I've participated in many C2s as a customer. So that's why I decided to join C2. And I understood after years that we are a little bit like onions. We have different layers of protection. And all of those little details, like the first one is not a detail, it's a choice to build a whole city. You build a tent, you build something that is not a conference center. Okay? So that first layer goes up. So you're in a different setting. You're not in a conformism area, like a conference center. You're in a place where you can think. And then you have all those. You have all of those people that you have the feeling that you're part of something different, something bigger than just you. You're part of a group that really wants to get together and change things. And you are free to think whatever. And any idea is good. You just have to make it happen, and you have the people around you to make it happen. So that's what I like about it. And that's why I decided to bring Mexicans. Because I thought it was the best. For me, it was the best representation of my city, of Montreal. And I said, if the people I bring like C2, they will become my friends because I love C2. So that's how it started. And they all liked it, and now we're trying to bring it here.
Well, to finish, would you send a message for the people who want to change the world through arts, through creative activity?
Changing the world is our responsibility, not somebody else's responsibility. So have a way and define your way of changing the world and bring people around you to help you achieve that. So making it work is your own responsibility. Don't wait for the other guy or the government or the corporation to do so. You are the actor of change in the 21st century. You have all the tools to do it. So we're waiting for you and waiting for your voice. Show us the way.
And never let go. Never let go. Just continue.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Me too.